Don't be a little bitch. Okay, there we go.
Yo, what?
Oh man. So okay.
Oh yeah, we already got 13 people logged in just waiting for us.
Okay.
So, hi everybody, welcome to the Twins Daily live stream and yeah. So this is something, huh? Who wants to start? I don't even know what no, I don't know. Somebody
Let-
talk.
Let's try and take stock of what we know so far. And just like want to acknowledge that we are hopping on live a good 20 minutes before we plan to because news has just broken that the Minnesota Twins are trading shortstop Carlos Correa to the Houston Astros. Correa waiving his no trade clause to go back to Houston, where presumably he's going to fill in at third base for the rest of this season, with Isaac Paredes out for the remainder of the year through injury. If you are just joining us, welcome. We appreciate it. Go ahead and put your thought, get it all out in the comments, y'all, what you are thinking, feeling, reactions to this. Greg, why don't we start with you, man? First of all, what's up?
We're here
Man,
actually we're hearing that we're not 100% positive that the Correa deal is complete yet.
Okay.
So with that caveat, I'm hoping that at some point the Giants will get involved. Maybe RC Judge will make an appearance. We could just relive 2022, everybody. Let's do it again. But no, seriously, internally, we're hearing it. It very well could go through, but we're hearing it's not absolutely ironclad yet. But go ahead, Greg.
Bob Nightingale, who may or may not be right about anything, said that the Twins didn't eat $50 million of his contract as the Astros desired, but still a significant amount, and there's other major league players involved.
Whew. I mean, is it even worth reacting to quite yet until we
I don't think so.
But
No.
I think that honestly, I want to get my joke off really quick. Like the running joke is that, Carlos Correa went to the Twins after getting turned down by the Mets and the Giants with his tail between his legs back to his third choice. Well, guess what, buddy? I guess we're back at your fourth choice. So it all comes around in the end. Wow. This is unreal.
Yeah. Take that. We're not even third anymore.
This is this is unreal, right? And like comments are starting to come in, so we'll start popping some of those up on the screen. But maybe we can start like really kind of big picture, high level, because there's been plenty of activity today. I think the question coming into today after the drawn trade yesterday was, to what extent are the Twins going to aggressively sell, if we want to use that phrase? And I mean, I'm curious for you guys' reactions and thoughts here, but if we're thinking about the team in 2026 and beyond, we are going into full nuclear meltdown, complete reboot, reset, right? Question mark. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, kind of, but even it's still a half measure, even despite with Correa, because I'm of the opinion you can trade as many relievers as you like, and you're never fully rebuilding. You can piece together a bullpen. The Twins have shown they're at least moderately adept at. You could convert Matthews or Festa or various people to the bullpen. They'll probably be pretty good right out of the gate. Correa, it's still, he's paid a lot and he's owed even more, and he's not performing. You can still see a way to navigate competing in 2026, at least being a fringe contender, except the Pollard still own this team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see them shedding Correa's contract and then being going, oh yeah, but we're going to invest all $33 million in 2026 I just don't see it.
So does this now lead to the next question that we all are wondering? What if this team's not going to be competitive or fringe competitive, are we going to see more big names moving? And is a team worth having if your only good players are your center fielder and two starting pitchers? Like, where does this end? There's still 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to take a stab at answering that, Jeremy.
No.
I have no idea.
I'm here now, even though you can't see me because we got all these different things going on here. Do we want to maybe change the format so we can fit more faces and I'm not in the background?
No,
Oh
Brock.
yeah,
Brock
hey
wants to win.
Theo, I hadn't even noticed you're in the
Yeah,
back,
I'm
second
in
row.
here.
Let's
I
get
mean,
Lavelle
there.
on, Jamie. Can we get Lavelle on?
There we go.
There we go.
And then we got
Oh,
Kitty
okay.
too. Hello. Say hi, Hammy.
Yeah, can we
All
can
right.
we get Lavelle on to tell us about how his
Nothing was-
prediction that the
you-
Twins aren't going to
There
make a
won't be a
trade?
single trade.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to be the case. No, I will say whatever mood we felt in the clubhouse post game afterwards, which I would definitely describe as eerie. The players definitely knew some stuff was going to happen. Obviously, the Duran trade was, I think, very predictable for everyone. But this, I think, not only does it really break morale for the fan base, even though, yes, Correa was underperforming for his contract value, this is definitely going to just break the morale for the clubhouse entirely, because despite what he was doing on the field, off the field, he was still one of those leaders in that clubhouse and very close with many of the young players, trying to be a good leader for them. So this now just shatters everything. And honestly, the best thing they can really cheer for the rest of the season is just do better than the White Sox, because that's what this move really just indicates.
Oh yeah, are they going to be tanking? I mean, they're game and a half out of the 5th best odds for the number 1 overall pick. I think that they're 5.5 games out of the 2nd best. So I don't know. Maybe they compete for that. But yeah, I don't know what there is to kind of look forward to other than watching guys develop this year for sure.
Yeah.
That's all there is. I mean, you could see him lose a couple relievers, and still you're like, well, if Correa turns around, Lewis turns around, the offense really picks up. Maybe they finish with 83, 84 wins and kind of make us interested till the end. But at this point, no, you can't see them making anything interesting in August and September.
And now the Texas Rangers are acquiring Danny Coulomb per Jeff Passan. Oh, wait, where's the media asset from that we were using last night? There it is. There we go. Now we got the update.
I don't know if this is party time, man. Shut off the music.
This
is a funeral.
Yeah. Okay, then you find the better music to use, Greg, since you're always doing it on your show. All right, so yeah, now we knew Danny Coulomb was going to get moved, and it looks like that's definitely the case. So yeah, this is just, I guess, let's start the funeral.
I mean, as down as we all are on this, and there's many reasons to be down on this, but after 2 years of witnessing the Twins do nothing, at least they're being decisive.
Right.
It's awesome.
I don't agree with that decisiveness, but at least they're doing something. I mean, that's some small positive to take from this.
So can I throw something out there while we're waiting on details and Coulomb trade, and we got to talk about the strange Brock Stewart trade. How's this for a conspiracy theory that I want you guys' takes on? This almost seems like a hard full reset prior to new ownership, whereby new ownership can start with a completely blank slate. I don't know. I guess I just don't we have transitioned so quickly from we want to build a sustainable winner to we're blowing this entire thing up. The biggest free agent signing in franchise history has been moved back to his original team to play third base. I'm assuming the Twins are paying some of that salary. What do you guys think about that as not a conspiracy theory, but just conjecture that they're trying to kind of create a blank slate for a new ownership?
I love this comment because I think this really sums it up. It means that they're really close to selling to somebody, and they are behind the scenes kind of getting the poll ads to lean in a direction and say, hey, you know what, we want a blank slate. Or this is straight up the poll ads not being anywhere near a sale and saying, we want to Bob nutting this franchise. We are going to just take it down to the bolts and get as much out of it as we can before we sell it.
From what I've been hearing, the small hearsay that I have on the sale, I would definitely say with that last comment from Joe Boo, and yes, you can definitely live up to your last name if that is indeed your last name. The sale is probably more on the very close side of happening than very far away. But
I like this one.
Yeah,
yes, that's a good one too. Yeah.
So they literally just sent out the renewal stuff this week.
Oh, shit.
Well, okay, Jeremy, then you can be our litmus test. Will you be renewing your season tickets with the Twins?
I mean, I hadn't really given much thought of it. The ticket prices did not go up. In fact, I think mine went down maybe $1. I mean, I assume I will because I just like going to baseball games, but I would guess that there's a lot of people that spend a significant amount of money more than I do that will not be.
Yep.
They're not going to be able to sign or not sign a guy based on what decisions I make. But the people that are on the TV every day, that's a little bit different.
Do we want to, while we're waiting on details, talk about some of the trades that have happened today, and or go in a different direction and keep on speculating about Correa? What's the mood here, y'all?
We should talk about what they've done today because it's been interesting.
Why don't we work backwards from where we are now until Lou's here? Thank God.
Lou.
We have a facilitator.
Hey,
We finally have a real host.
what did I
Yes.
miss? What did I miss? I've been kind of unplugged for a little while. How's everything
Oh,
going?
have the Twins picked up James Outman? I really think they have something in him.
Dude,
So,
okay, a major league
yeah,
outfielder.
it's exciting.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Cool. All right, well, everything's all
The
right.
Twins
then.
have
Cool.
never had a left-handed outfielder, so I'm super
No, it's-
excited for this.
Uncharted territory, one might say.
Awesome. What else is going on?
That's
I
about it.
mean, has anybody checked on Chris Paddock?
What?
Okay.
Chris Paddock. Who?
Apparently, he's a big fan of the kitchen at Comerica.
Well, Chris Paddock isn't a Twin, and he's a huge fan of the kitchen at Comerica. That was, oh man, this week has just been so much great fodder and
Yes,
great
it has.
ammunition for anybody who has anything negative to say about the Twins, like things that they're doing themselves. Like Chris Paddock runs off, and the first thing he says is, "Dadgummit, I love the kitchen here." Like
Ooh.
it's so good, man. It is such a great time to be a Twins fan.
Yes.
Well, you know what they say? The Pullheads love to keep their money on the field. So you keep it out of the kitchen, put it on the field. That's the MO for sure.
Anyway.
Oh man, absolutely losing it here. Why don't we talk about the Brock Stewart trade real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do we have to?
So what do you guys make of this, right? So 1-for-1 deal, Brock Stewart with how much team control left, and you get James Outman back, who is now 28, put up like close to a 4 WAR season his rookie year, strikes out like 30+% of the time, some speed and defense, but like really struggling to hit. That struck me as a little bit of a strange one. Curious for y'all's thoughts on that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when I was envisioning what a Brock Stewart trade could look like, it was not James Outman. When the original kind of news came out, and I think the original wording of one of the first tweets, and I don't remember who sent it out, but it was James Outman is part of the deal. And I think that that's a lot more stomachable than James Outman being the only return on this deal. Obviously, Brock Stewart has a lot of questions about his long-term and short-term health. It took like 2 hours between the time that the trade was leaked and the terms came out. It's possible that, it takes a while to look through a complicated injured rap sheet like Brock Stewart. So it's possible that it's not exactly what they had originally agreed to. And it's possible that the Twins kind of think that there isn't maybe many more miles left in Brock Stewart's arm. So it's kind of disappointing, but it almost just kind of signals to me that maybe Brock Stewart was not the trade chip that we had kind of hoped relative to what he's capable of.
What situation can you see where if the medicals were bad, Brock Stewart was worth giving up on for James Outman? That's what I'm confused about, is if his medicals are bad, just keep him and ride it. But anyway,
unless
Jeremy,
you
what
think
were
that
gonna
it's
say?
over after this year, potentially.
I mean,
Right. And I think, if you want to talk value of the return, whatever Altman's value is, like, could we find a comparable value in someone that plays a position that's more needed or has a skill set that's more needed and not a left-handed hitting outfielder? Don't need it. Defensive center fielder, don't need it. Like get another arm. Just get an arm of similar value or of lesser value if that's what it's going to take. I just the fit for him is weird because it just now it's all left-handed hitting outfielders, right? And Byron Buxton. That's ridiculous.
Well, at
Bobby
least Buxton's reliable.
Bobby Nightingale tweeted that the Twins. I love the wording here. The Twins have several options as left-handed hitting outfielders moving forwards for the rest of the season. Fair.
Mm-hmm.
It's fair.
I have a question for Greg. What does this mean for Carson McCusker? Your
Oh
thoughts?
man, this is devastating. Can we just let this big dude who dings dongs just have a chance? Give him the last 2 months. No, he's got 7 left-handed corner outfield options in front of him. It'll never happen. I'm devastated. Come on, man. I just want to see the big dude ding at least one dong. Oh.
We're just going to let that float out there. We're going to end with one dong and nobody's going to say anything.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's the perfect cutoff.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to some friends actually right before jumping on here. This day, these last 2 days reminds me of like going into an episode of Game of Thrones when it was at its peak and you're like, oh, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Who's going to croak next? That's honestly what it feels like. And we got the red wedding today. Everybody is out. I'm waiting for somebody to come up behind me and put me out of my misery too, but we'll see. I don't know.
Padres are acquiring Ryan O'Hearn and
O'Hearn.
Ramon
Yeah,
Laureano
that's what I'm
from the
just trying
Orioles.
to. Oh, and Laureano.
Both.
Oh, okay. Well, off to the Padres side I go.
So can I ask? So obviously, Coulomb is already out the door, and we're all just kind of waiting on the Castro news. What other names do we think after Carlos Correa is out the door? Do we think that this is also it for Trevor Larnach? This is it for Ryan Jeffers? I feel like at this hour, it's probably not time for Joe Ryan yet, just because we're so close to the deadline. But I don't know.
I
would
think
say
all
Ryan.
those names make sense, right? I mean, I don't think they'll get traded, but at this point in time, it makes sense. It would make sense to deal Larnach because you have another. You've just replaced him, and McCusker might be the right-handed hitting outfielder for the rest of the season. But yeah, I don't think you just say, okay, well now that we've moved everybody but Castro, let's just do that and be done. Just keep listening, and if that means trade Jax, you gotta think he could be on the move too.
Mm-hmm. It's a very confusing time right now for sure. Question for our 3 friends from Destination the Show: who is providing the most optimism coming in from any of these prospects right now?
Keishel.
Sorry, like prospects coming in from other teams.
Oh, other teams.
We're talking about the
Still
trade
like your
deadline.
Keishel answer.
I'm
That's
saying
like such a
anyone
good
right
burn on the front
now.
office.
Are we talking this year or like long term?
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe your answer, it's probably different, but who is like, oh man, I'm not liking any of these packages very much, except, okay, all right, this guy, I can get behind this kind of move.
Well, I think we're going to see the most of Mick Abel this year, right? And if he performs to a level that it's like, okay, he can be a guy in the rotation, I think that's obviously going to be the biggest deal for the short term. But I think Taid is probably, I mean, he's the best prospect they've traded for in quite some time. So I would have to say that he's the hope. But to put your hope into a catcher in the minors right now, that's tough.
I'll give a quick plug for one more, and like I think we had a little bit more processing time with the Duran trade. Today has obviously been a lot, but I do think Henry Mendez is at least like semi interesting. Who was the headliner in the Bader deal? He's a AA, 21 years old, left-handed hitter this year, 290, 374, 434, with a little bit of power, walks almost as much as he strikes out. Really good bat to ball skills, hits the ball hard, but has a ground ball problem. That's a kind of guy who you could see maybe he becomes some type of like relevant 4th outfielder, fits in the teens on the prospect list. But he's at least intriguing, I think, as someone who came back in the Bader deal.
Yeah, it seemed like a reasonable get, at least, as the
sure.
big piece coming back for Bader. That's You brought up Jeremy. You brought up Mick Abel. The Twins have this. At least they had at one point this kind of reputation for bringing pitchers in, making a few tweaks, and kind of taking a few guys to the next level here. Should we be excited for that to maybe happen with Abel, even though he's already at the upper echelon of the minor leagues there? Would it be different? Would we feel more optimistic about the tweaks that they would make if he were younger? He's still only 23 years old or something, right? So it's not like he's over the hill or anything, but
no, there's certainly hope there still. Jamie's piece on Twins Daily that he wrote earlier today, I think sums it up pretty good. If they want to try to tweak his pitch mix, and Jamie can give you more details about that, but I mean, we're talking about a guy that's not far removed from being a on every list every year, top 100 since he was drafted. So, I mean, there's certainly hope, but we talked about last night, he fits in that Matthews, Festa, Abel, as guys that are kind of on they are going to fit in the back end of the rotation or better. And so whenever you can add more to that part of your rotation, I think there's a bonus there, unless they're going to trade guys from above them and then they have to fill those spots in automatically. I guess we'll see in the next couple hours.
Yeah, I do think Abel is semi-interesting. And of course the value angle from folks has been, the return for Duran was disappointing, which I get because everyone wanted to just kind of prognosticate on whether Painter might be a factor there. But Abel has really legit stuff. It's a fastball that sits 96. He has a really good feel for spin. He gets good extension. His production hasn't really matched the sum of his pitching parts, I guess, if that makes sense. And so I do think one of the things the Twins organization does really well has been pitching development. And so I'm going to guess working on breaking ball shapes, maybe adding a cutter. And you acquire him now at a time where he has time to work through some of that stuff now at the major league level when it doesn't matter because we're selling everything, and then hope that he comes back in 2026 and one of him, Festa, and Zebi takes a step forward to join. I was going to say to join Pablo and Joe Ryan as playoff caliber starters, but I don't know that we should be talking about the playoffs at all.
I want to bring up a quote real quick that Dan just tweeted out.
Yes, okay, cool. That's what I was going to say.
Our friend Peter just put this in the comments, and this is, of course, from Dan Hayes speaking to one player on anonymity. Just what I was describing earlier. It was a very gloomy mood in the clubhouse yesterday. Well, imagine how it's going to be in Detroit. Cleveland tomorrow, and that's exactly what we're dealing with.
Oh boy, man, this is. I think that obviously, our focus is often on kind of the reaction of fans or the big picture or whatever. But if we take a step back and think about how these players are feeling at a time like this, even if you want to make an argument, and I'm actually pretty receptive to the argument that getting out of Correa's contract might be a net positive on the long-term outlook, the short-term outlook, whatever. I'll listen to that. I don't know if I agree, but I'll listen to it. But man, that is your clubhouse leader. If that guy gets flipped, that's a signal to the players that, we don't have a lot of confidence potentially in this team as a whole going forward, what you're going to be doing 2026, maybe even 2027. That has to really be a tough one to swallow if you are a player on this team.
Well, we have a new guest joining us, describing how he is feeling right now without even saying a word. Welcome, Nick.
Says it all. Yeah, my job title, just to be angry, I guess, today.
Well, I think that's going to be the majority of Twins fans. I'm going to hop off for a little bit, but Nick, why don't you take some questions from the field and, tell us how you're feeling about everything today, beyond just angry.
I'm bummed. I don't know. Have we gotten any information on the Correa return yet? I haven't seen.
Not yet.
I assume it'll be negligible.
It's
a sad day. I don't know. It's hard to feel very excited about what's going on. From my view, they're giving away all their good players, and I'm not feeling all that excited about anything they've gotten back personally. So, finding a hard time really coming away with any positivity, and then still kind of trying to digest and process the Correa news.
I mean, there is James Outman.
There is him.
Third in Rookie of the Year voting. That's not quite Delman Young in 2006, 7, but it is promising. Guys who finish high for Rookie of the Year have never crashed out before.
Never. Danny Valencia, as we know, had a great, phenomenal, long career filled with productivity through age 40.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, I survive here. It seems pretty somber.
We're oscillating, I think, between trying to process like what it means for the franchise, right? And like this, like, will they sell moderately or aggressively? I don't know how much we collectively entertained them, not just selling aggressively, but stripping it down to the studs. Like, I don't think we'd really thought through that as much of a possibility. So I think we're kind of oscillating between trying to process that versus talking through some of the like semi-interesting returns on trades, some like Outman that just seem puzzling and don't really seem to make a lot of sense. So yeah, you summed it up well.
Some of us did try. Jamie, I don't know if you remember this.
I don't listen to anything you say, so definitely didn't.
And even talking about moving Correa was something you refused to be a part of last night. And that's the thing, like,
egg on your face, by the way.
The half
cut him off.
The half measure of selling, right? You got to commit one way or the other. And so this is like the most committed thing the Twins have done in a long time, right? When they're buying around the fringe.
I got an update.
Okay, bring it on.
Or we have an update, sorry. There is one prospect going back to the Minnesota Twins. This is from Chandler Rome and the Carlos Correa deal. Pardon me. Sources tell The Athletic the Twins are eating some of the money. The deal is pending medical review, which, as we all know, has never been relevant in previous Carlos Correa related deals.
So how, like, what type of quality of prospect are you thinking this is going to be?
I mean, the Houston Astros have a terrible farm system, pretty bereft of guys who aren't already on the fringes of contributing to their major league roster. So my guess would be when we find out the name, the vast majority of reactions will be who? And this is going to be much more about the financials. And they got far enough on that sliding scale of like, they're taking 70-30 or 80-20 or 60-40 or whatever was the tipping point for the front office. That is really what the deal hinged on. And I could be wrong, but the Astros don't have a ton to write home about in their system, in my opinion.
But now we're ignoring the part about Nightingale saying that there's another major leaguer in this trade, right? And we assume that is the bat that Houston was asking for. I mean, is that fair? Could it be Trevor Larnach? I mean, as long as we're just throwing out.
Oh, there's another major leaguer going from the Twins in this deal. Okay.
Well, it didn't say specifically. Nightingale just said there's other major leaguers involved.
Okay.
Astros aren't trading major leaguers to the Twins, right? I mean,
I do think a left-handed hitting outfielder, which the Twins have no shortage of. I mean, like Larnach. I don't know, James Outman. That makes the most logical sense and is the most logical fit, in my opinion. I also want to play a game in like 30 minutes when we digest all of this. Of let's all see if we can piece together a lineup for tomorrow.
Yeah. Can you name 26 current Twins? Are we out of them yet?
Like actually, the amount of organizational roster moves in the next 24 hours is going to be staggering at every single level of the org.
Because what are we at? We're at 6 confirmed, 5 confirmed. That is, I mean, we're getting to almost 20% of the 40-man roster is about to be turned over.
Yeah, it's 6 confirmed right now.
Yeah.
So I made a pre-deadline roster, and then I had a post-deadline roster thinking it probably wouldn't involve a lot of turnover. Right now, there's no 40-man relievers.
No.
Like, and they've traded 3, and so the only 40-man guys that aren't on the big league roster right now are Adams, Raya, Pearson-Ole, who they just sent down, and McAble. And one of those is going to have to start. So it's like they don't right now have enough pitchers They had just enough pitchers to fill their roster.
That's yeah. I mean, who would be the ads then?
Connor
I mean,
Prelip?
are there some non-40 man guys at AAA? Like
I think the most
McCoggin
exciting
maybe, or
would be Connor Prelip. I don't think that they're about to like bring Marco Raya up and stick him in the bullpen at this point. I feel like they would prefer to just leave him at AAA. But like, what are you going to do?
Right.
What's up with who was the guy we signed to a minor league deal and then he was hurt for like the whole first half of the season? Horatio Ramirez? Is he still around?
Erasmo
Ramirez?
Oh yeah, Erasmo Ramirez is definitely coming back up.
Okay,
yeah. I'm working to see what kind of moves are happening from Toledo to Cleveland right now. So I'll try to get some updates.
I wish Randy Dobnak was here. He would love this.
Too bad he didn't get his goodbye tweet.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around maybe like what could be a positive to come out of this Correa deal, right? Assuming that the Twins aren't really getting back any talent, and really this is all about just payroll relief, which doesn't do much for us, right? There's no salary cap, so if you're optimistic, I think if they had the current ownership in place, that money is not getting reinvested, which is why 100%. I don't like this trade at all. If there's a new ownership coming in that's more willing to reallocate it, that's a different story. But like, what are you even allocating it on? Like, the thing about the Correa signing that was so special was not just that they spent the money it took to get him, but that a superstar top shelf free agent was willing to sign to Minnesota. It just doesn't happen. We're going to get outbid or just, other perks and advantages of other places are going to draw people in. So the money to spend, I mean, I guess, are we looking at maybe like a big Joe Ryan extension? I don't even know where you're going to go try to spend that money to make a big impact.
You're looking the wrong way. You got to start at this point. You got to call your top prospects and say, you willing to accept a team friendly 10-year deal to get up a year early and live and die in the major leagues. Like Kalen Culpepper could come up and play a ton. He's not ready. And Jamie's losing his mind over there. But if you can get an extra year out of him, same with Walker Jenkins. Like at this point, you're going to lose, so you might as well lose with your young guys and give them all the reps they could possibly get.
Yeah, I mean, is there any point in what is Joe Ryan, 29? He's 2.5 years from free agency, effectively 2 years. Like, I wouldn't want to extend him at that point. I'd be looking at, signing Jenkins or, maybe Fester or Matthews. I wouldn't, but somebody of that caliber. But also, none of those dollars are going to be spent now. None of those long-term deals include $10-15 million signing bonuses. They just don't. So what are they going to do with this money? Are they going to go pick up $5 million players? I mean, that's kind of their MO, which is depressing.
Well, they got a lot of holes to fill now, so I guess there's probably some validity to that. They're going to have to spend it somewhere to find some of these guys.
What's Jay Happ up to nowadays?
Retired very comfortably.
So I assume, Brooks Lee is the starting shortstop the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And then is this, we just mentioned Kalen Culpepper. Is this kind of a big vote of confidence in his future at shortstop, perhaps? I'm personally I've lost a ton of faith in Brooks Lee and don't really see him as a.
No.
I agree. And so, like, to the point around the, Jeremy, I kind of agree with that thought in theory, right? Like, if you're like the Brewers right now, like you're like, let's extend Miz. Like, he's been so electric. I don't know that the Twins have guys who have performed well enough to warrant that, who have made their major league debut. I mean, like, okay, look at your top guys in St. Paul. Erod, he's been hurt too much. Keishel, he's maybe the only guy you can make an argument for, but he's played 7 games. Lee's been bad. Julian Miranda, Larnick, Wallner, maybe. Who is the list of candidates that you potentially extend or offer that type of appealing team-friendly deal to and have confidence that they're actually going to meet what you pay value-wise?
And even if you do offer it to like Keishel or somebody of that level, you're talking about throwing out, I can't remember exact numbers, but like Wilyer Abreu money. You're not talking Jackson Churio money. You're talking $40-50 million maybe. You're not talking the $80 to $120 million that a Churio would get. Or like if the Brewers extended Miz, he would get an absurd amount of money as well, guaranteed. The Twins just don't have anybody like that.
Which is fine. It's cost certainty for new owners, right? You don't have to spend $100 million, but if you can get Walker Jenkins to agree to a deal that's got options, and Jenkins or Keishel or Culpepper, whatever, if Walker Jenkins is all of a sudden in target field, there might be more people that show up to watch because he's the future. And it's not going to replace everything, but I think that if we think that they're going to save $50 million or whatever they're going to save and then turn around and reallocate it soon, that's not going to happen. They're going to be at the near the bottom of spenders in all of baseball for the next couple of years. And I think that's just something we have to come to terms with.
Are there
Yeah.
any just like questions or, with all this extension, talk and discussion, what about the like impending doom of the lockout possibly after the 2026 season? Does that affect kind of long-term plans, not just for the Twins, but for other teams too? It's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, the lockout definitely is going to play effect into things. I think that's still a little too far out for us to have a concrete idea. That's definitely a bridge we are more likely to have conversations on and like cross during the off season. But yeah, I mean, it's just the morale. I can't stop thinking about the morale for what this means for the organization, especially the players who are in that clubhouse right now or about to be called up. I mean, I think that's just going to have a bit of a defeatist attitude for the last 2 months of the season.
This is literally what happens in all of the clubhouses that sell. Like, you didn't win, and now we're selling off. You should have played better baseball. Like, that's the part about making a lot of money playing baseball. Like, if you don't get it done, or you do get it done, you might get traded. And they weren't as good as they should have been. And boo-hoo your feelings. Like, that's how this works. Like, you weren't good enough.
That's true, especially when you're selling the rentals and giving up on this year. But I think it takes on a whole new meaning when you're basically punting next season. I mean, Byron Buxton is finally healthy and playing the way we thought he would. What does this mean for him? What does this mean for Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez, that they're going to be these co-aces on a team that's not even trying to win? That's what really disgusts me, frankly.
It means that they're going to also get traded when Pablo's healthy and when the Twins get a good offer for
Buxton ain't getting traded, man. I don't think so. I mean, maybe he'll change his mind after all this, but
those are the guys. Right? Those are the guys who I feel bad for. Are basically Buxton and Pablo, because Lewis, any of the young guys, they're coming up. They're going to do their 6 years, especially if they're a Boris client like Lewis, and then they're out. So they're trying to get their paydays and until they get their really big payday. But Lopez and Buxton, they locked into what they thought was going to be a winning team and a core that was going to try to compete. And now they're just dismantling it. And they're going to be the two guys who are just left there standing.
Well, yeah. And Royce, I mean, look, it's been a tough run for Royce over the last year or so. And I don't want to exaggerate or read too much into what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, but I mean, he really looks like he's rounding back into form. And that is like an MVP caliber player, maybe not even at that level, but an all-star kind of contributor. And you have these pieces in place, and yet you're just kind of ripping it down around them, and they're not getting back talent in any of these trades that's really going to help them next year. Maybe Outman, if they can get him turned around. But, they're just subtracting pieces and not bringing anything back. And then it comes back to, it's like, well, are they going to invest this money in the offseason? Probably not. And so then if you're punting 2026, and then we've got this lockout potentially coming, it's a grim outlook, I think, right now for Twins fans, and it's pretty hard to take.
Why are we not speculating? Maybe because we actually know and we just don't want to put the player out there.
I have no idea who it is, and I'm still not going to speculate because, I mean, we're down to what, like 15, 16, 17 guys it could be. Yeah. At this point, that guy might end up getting traded too.
What's being referenced?
Funny if it was Correa.
I think that's not. I'm not aware.
That would be funny, but it's definitely not.
What text to Dan is being referenced here? I think I missed this.
There was a player. Dan tweeted out that he texted a player that said that. What are the exact words that we had here?
Now no one wants to say if they're selling like this.
Yeah, basically say they want out too, because nobody signed up for this.
Now no one wants to stay if they're selling like this. I mean, I have a guess, but I don't want to say it out loud.
The optics of this franchise, you take a quote like that, and then what Chris Paddock said yesterday as soon as he got to Detroit, it's like, I don't know. Good luck to whoever's buying this thing, man. It is a distressed product.
I don't know. I feel like whoever buys it, like there's going to be such a boost that we've been talking about that. Like there's going to be just like it's not the Pohlads boost, but I don't know. I feel like they're digging quite a hole right now. That boost might just get you back to maybe, I don't know, like a step above where they were at the beginning of this season.
Right.
Okay, but now let's look at it from another direction. The starting rotation right now hasn't gotten any worse, right?
Yet.
Yeah.
And that's
There's still work to be done there.
There's still time that this could all change. You've taken out a big part of the bullpen, but if you don't trade Jax, you still have a closer.
Surely they're trading Jax now.
Is that a real thing? Have we heard?
I mean, it just seems weird if you're gonna part ways with Duran and Stewart and Correa. What are we keeping Jax around for? He's 3 years older than Duran.
Yeah, at this point, I would go all in on liquidating the bullpen. While it has value, while it's useful. If you're going to trade two of the pieces, why not trade three?
Why not trade?
I mean, I keep Varland. Keep Varland. He has a ton of control. But yeah, absolutely. If there's somebody out there who's willing to give good value for Jax at this point, why the hell not?
The lineup,
because we just talked about how they have like core pieces that are very good for next year. So it's like there's a line to walk where you want to have a bullpen that's going to give you a shot next year, right? I just can't really get on board with this. Let's sell everything after this year because it's just such a disservice to Buxton and Lewis and Pablo and the fans, honestly.
I guess my question, though, as a counterpoint to that, Nick, is this, and I hear what you're saying, and I agree to a certain extent. What are the lineup pieces that give us any level of confidence that the Twins are capable of being a playoff caliber team? I just and I think maybe we'll see them lean into this in the last 2 months of this year, right? Where we're going to see Eddie Julian, Brooks Lee, Royce Lewis, Luke Keeschel, Jose Miranda, and really draw a line in the sand underneath who is actually going to contribute to the lineup of this team for the long term. And maybe it's me being short-sighted, but at the moment, I just can't see a situation where they have a lineup that is capable of producing enough offense to compete, for the playoffs in 2026.
This is the only update we've had.
Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but this is from Brian McTaggart of MLB.com. This is just what Correa has put on the record since the trade has apparently went down.
Yeah.
You're going to have to read it because it's, well.
In an interview with MLB.com, Correa said he was happy to come home to a team where he started his career. He said that it was clear Minnesota wasn't going in the direction he wanted, and they agreed to find a trade.
Because of him.
I let them know that that there was only one team I would allow that to happen. Woof.
I don't blame him for wanting out. I mean, honestly, Correa's been pretty upfront and honest about everything since he's been here. I don't really fault anything he said about getting his money or wanting out now.
I would say he would get booed when he comes back to Target Field, but there'll be no one there to do it.
Yeah.
There'll be people in the apartments behind left field. They can probably boo.
Sounds like Dylan Cease might be going to the Astros as well. Damn. That looks like it might be coming together.
Yeah, I mean, so what do you guys make of?
I gotta head to my happy hour after this very unhappy half hour. But it was good to talk to you guys. Good to see you. I'll make sure I try to tune in here on the way.
Later, Nick.
Thanks for having me.
All right,
later, Nick.
Being here.
What do you guys make of the lineup for next year? I mean, I guess that's my question. While we're waiting on more details, it doesn't sound like we have the Coulomb return yet either. Who are we collectively feeling confident about as a? Sorry, Lou, to steal your facilitator role.
Go for it.
Who are we feeling confident about is going to be a pillar of this lineup next year? And you're like, yes, okay, cool, lock it in. Outside of Byron Buxton,
and Buxton isn't a pillar because he's going to probably play over 100 games this year, but who knows what 2026 is going to bring. So I can never consider Buxton a pillar because he might go down at any time. And that is not a slight on him. He's an amazing player. I love him. He's my favorite Twin by far. But I don't see any pillars in this. There are huge question marks with everybody down the lineup.
Well, if things go perfectly for 12 of the 13 hitters, 13 of 13 if you want to include Buxton staying healthy the full year. I mean, this could be a really solid lineup.
I mean, I feel like there was some sarcasm there.
Yeah, a little bit. Sorry, I only have one voice.
But like Royce Lewis has been awful this year.
Yeah.
But if he turns the corner and is what we expected him to be, that's a huge question mark. And I think that's the thing with all of these names, right? Mm-hmm. Jeffers is a serviceable offensive player. I don't think you're going to call him a pillar, but if he sticks around and catches until he's a free agent, like that, he's a good enough player. He's a good enough player to start on a team that can make the playoffs, right? I think if Luke Keeschel is not as good as he was in the handful of games he played, but even close to that, like he's a name that you will write in pen at second base. The defense has to get better, obviously. Who knows how shortstop's going to work? And there are still guys that a year ago, Eddie Julian, Miranda, Wallner, like that, they were fans like us were hopeful enough that they would be good enough players to be part of a playoff team. So it doesn't have to go perfect for 13 out of 13 of them, but there's still enough there. They traded Carlos Correa, who hasn't really been very good anyway.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's basically the kind of the outlook that we had on this team this year, is that, we had a handful of guys who we were confident in, and then it was like, well, we've got so many different options, in the 4 or 5 through 12 or 13 slot that, if you give it some time, some guys will hit, some guys won't. And I mean, we've reached mid-season and most of them just haven't.
Right.
Yep.
And that's why we are here today.
Right. And so I'm in agreement that, yeah, you can definitely say that. And there is reason. I don't think that every single year is going to turn out like this one did. But we just got done going into a year saying, well, maybe, if this guy, we've got 10 guys we can choose from to be good bats, maybe 6 or 7 of them turn out. And it did not work this year whatsoever. And you couple that with a really nice performance from your pitching staff, and you're still under 500.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting place to be right now.
I guess the question I have is, what sort of ticket promotion are they going to do? They're going to be like, we traded 11 major league players. Tickets are just $11.
Did you guys see the St. Paul Saints tweet earlier today that was like, we've just announced our jersey patch for the rest of the year, and it's like a "Hi, my name is" sticker. Brilliant.
Was it the Wolves that if you brought a can of green beans to the game, you would get in? As a non-Minnesotan, I've heard some sort of rumor like that.
Yep. I believe that was the case. Yep.
I don't know. Maybe if they bring beans to Target Field, you get in. I don't know. I'm super curious what the paid attendance is going to be for the rest of the season, because just beyond the team being bad, outright signaling that we're tearing it down, that's not going to go over well with most fans.
I think the only time this entire season, it was the Cubs series, and then the Nelly concert night was the only time they had 4 games in a row of 30,000 plus, and the Nelly concert being a sellout. I would be shocked if we see one game where we're even 1,000 or 2,000 over 30,000.
So what you're saying is they need to bring Nelly back.
Well, I don't even think Nelly could really make it a big difference at this point with how the on-field product is looking. But that is, what we're looking at right now is very rare occurrence where we're going to see maybe 30,000 even cracked, because I think even this last weekday series, even with the Red Sox in town, they didn't even crack 30,000 on any of the nights.
Really? Because I thought Monday night was pretty full when I was there.
It was full-ish, but I think that was like 27,000. So,
hey, a lot more room in the stands for more bark at the park night, Greg.
Oh no, get out of here! That's enough. Enough with dogs. No more dogs at the ballpark. That's bad. Bad, Lou.
I don't like these. There's been a couple of stages today, this being one of them, where these just hugely long pauses. Like we got the Brock Stewart trade news broke, and then it was a full hour and 10 minutes till we found out that James Outman was a return.
That
and
was
now
a
we
weird
get
trade.
that. Was, I like put in the Slack like what LA Dodgers prospect are you interested in, and everyone whatever. Outman was not brought up. And then now we have this wait to find out the details of this Correa deal. And do we know anything on Coulomb yet?
Nothing.
Nothing. Strange. So Castro is like the last. Sorry, just reading something. Castro is like the last guy that we're expecting. Yeah, I said.
Had to share that one. Shout out Parker.
Oh man.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
I don't know how credible this is, but it sounds like the Cubs are in pretty heavy on Willie Castro.
Oh yeah, what's Willie Castro going to
That
return?
deal makes a lot of sense from the Cubs. The Cubs have an absolutely atrocious bench. They could really use somebody with versatility. They could use somebody who's Matt Shaw insurance. I've liked Castro on the Cubs all deadline.
Willie Castro should get Kevin Alcantara just so they can have a right-handed hitting outfielder.
Well, that's not going to happen. But I mean,
I know, but I'm just saying that way they can balance it out with James Outman.
It's probably a better return than Bader, right? I mean, the money is probably twice as much, but I would have to think that it's going to be a decent return.
Yeah.
There were a couple kind of wild card names that we had heard kind of maybe sprinkled in some rumors, and like Ryan Jeffers, who knows at this point, but it kind of looks unlikely. Some of the biggest suitors for catchers have already kind of swooped in and got somebody. Another one we saw floated around a little bit was Pablo Lopez. I'm not sure what I would think about that either. What do you guys think?
About Pablo Lopez possibly being traded today?
Yeah.
I would like, I mean, and I just look more and more idiotic every time I open my mouth, but I would have to think that's a hugely long shot just because he's been out for such a long time now. Yeah. You're confident he's going to perform at that playoff caliber level when he's on, but he's been so out of sight, out of mind. Mm-hmm. I feel like that would be more likely, in my opinion, in the off season if they want to continue down this path. But I would be a little bit shocked if that happened now. But there's been a lot of shocking things today.
The Outman for Stork deal is official. Outman's being optioned to AAA St. Paul, and then there's an update from Ken Rosenthal that the Blue Jays and the Twins are still in discussions about a deal involving Griffin Jax, and the Guardians are still in talks with the Blue Jays about giving them Stephen Kwan. So it seems like the Guardians are just giving their team to Toronto.
Let me just say one thing about Toronto real quick before we get too much further down this road. If there are some intriguing prospects that Toronto has that the Twins could possibly acquire for Jax outside of their top two guys who are Arjun Nimala and Trey Savage. Yeah. There's a really young draftee they have from 2024 called Johnny King, who I think makes sense potentially as part of that return. But I mean, yeah, if they trade Jax as well, who's playing tomorrow? Jeremy, you're pitching the 7th. Brock, you got the 8th. Lou, you're batting cleanup.
I'm busy. But anyway,
chopped liver. All right.
So Bob Nightingale says the Twins are paying a significant portion of the.
And they called the Pohlads cheap.
So there's only one prospect. I would guess it's going to have to be someone that's higher up on the list, right? If they're paying his contract.
Well, they already said that Bryce Matthews, who's the only interesting Astros prospect, really is not included in this, and so I don't know. Maybe you get like a Walker Yannick or I don't know. There's a couple of interesting guys, but I wouldn't.
Guys, do we have a special guest music we could use? Because we do have a special guest, and we don't want to copyright his music.
Yeah, do we have an intro song for this guy? I'm not that familiar
Greg,
with him.
that's all you. Greg, this is you. Go.
I'm gonna bounce on the stage.
What music am I supposed to play?
I got you. I got this. Please welcome to the stage the Twins geek, Mr. John Bonus. How are you today?
Kids. Hi, kids. How we doing today?
What
John,
happens
Not
what are you
good,
gonna
man.
what are you gonna do with that nice Unreal sweatshirt that's great for October baseball?
I'm gonna wear it to some
How's that
Vikings
October
games, I guess.
baseball? When are you flying to Philly for that October baseball, John?
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
Lord.
Yeah, we will actually be in there the last weekend of the year, which it'll be interesting because my guess is that we're going to be on Rocco Watch about that weekend.
Do you need a dog sitter?
We might need a dog sitter, Theo. Yes, right.
All right, just throw my name in the hat.
All right, good to know.
All right. So, John, how about this? This morning I was listening to the emergency podcast that you and Aaron put out after Joan Duran was traded. And there was just some intonation, let's say, in both of your voices when some of this Correa conversation really started to hit ahead here. How early was it when you kind of discovered, okay, this is leaning towards like it's going to happen, that he's going to go back towards Houston?
As of yesterday, I mean, when we finished up that podcast, I decided there was probably at least a 50% chance and maybe a better than 50% chance. And then I got home last night and saw that Urias had been traded to Houston and went, you know what? I got over my skis on that because there's just so many other options that the Astros could do that were so much less drama, right, than this. And then they made it happen anyway. What they did is they used their leverage. I think we talked a little bit about that in the podcast. Like, this is the area that the Twins don't have any leverage. They could use their leverage on relievers. It's not clear they did, but they can use their leverage on relievers, and they could use their leverage on somebody like Joe Ryan or even Harrison Bader, who's sort of a unique skill set in this market. But Correa having only one team that he's willing to go back to, and Houston, having plenty of other options that don't tie up tens of millions of dollars in salary for several years. I wasn't I kind of assumed after that trade went down that they just took the easy path, and good on them to be able to do that. But so I was a little surprised this afternoon when it went down.
Yeah. Earlier when I hopped on this call here, I likened today to, in Game of Thrones, the Red Wedding, which is everybody just getting axed, it seems like. We haven't seen this from this front office yet. We've seen a couple of softer sells like in 2018, 2021 even. This is a big one. What do you think this says about just kind of the moment that they find themselves in right now and so much uncertainty?
I mean, honestly, up until the point where the Correa trade went, I didn't think that this was that aggressive in terms of a selling piece, right?
Okay.
I mean, they traded away most of their free agents. I still expect them to impending free agents. I still expect them to do more. I thought trading away Duran has something that I was probably going to see during this, because they just trade bullpen depth. That's the way they handle their bullpen, and that's not that big of an aggressive selling. On the one hand, I would say the Correa trade, definitely tips it into aggressive selling. It's not something we saw. On the other hand, I don't hate it. And I don't hate it necessarily in terms of even being competitive in 2026 and 2027. I can almost talk myself into the salary and stuff as well as it goes. I did a quick figuring on sort of where the Twins were sitting for next year's payroll before and or after the trade deadline, right? So, all those impending free agents don't count towards the 2026 payroll. All that money that they're dumping from the impending free agents wasn't going to play into the 2026 payroll. And what I came up with is sort of like their base was, if they kind of wanted to keep the guys they obviously should keep and pay the guys they obviously should pay and so on, was about $126 million for their 25 or 26 man roster. And that left a lot of openings, like the entire bench was open, right? But a kind of a crowded infield, like, where's Keishel? Are Keishel and Lee both going to be able to play at the same time? If Julian is back, do we got room for him? Who's going to the bench? It was mostly the bench that was sitting there wide open to try and make improvements, which is what we ran into this year. After the Correa trade, and after losing Duran, and after losing Stewart, especially Duran was probably going to be making about a $7 million salary next year. It's down to about a little over $100 million. So they've saved themselves, and presuming that, Correa is maybe half of the money is being taken by Houston. they're down to $100 million sort of base payroll. Now they've got more openings, but most of those openings are in the bullpen. The infield was already a little bit crowded. Like I've got Lemons at first, Keishel at second, Lewis at third, and Lee in shortstop. I don't think that's a totally unreal. They've certainly got an opening. The opening is DH, but DH is easy enough to fill. So, I think you're putting a lot of hope in a lot of young guys that didn't come through this year to develop next year, but you were going to do that anyway.
Sure.
So I'm not sure that it's that big of a change in terms of what their 2026 looks like. It's still sort of dependent on, are we going to see, Lee step forward, Royce Lewis not be terrible, Keishel step forward, and Cody Clemens continue what he's been doing, which I think is probably the biggest stretch of all of them. But all in all, I don't hate the move for the Twins.
To build onto your relentless positivity and how this is actually a really good trade and nobody should be upset at all. If we're being honest, I don't know how much time Carlos Correa had left at shortstop.
No?
Being complete, like he's it's not like he was a disaster out there, but he's definitely gotten worse over time. He's 30 now. So we were already looking at okay, how does this infield potentially shake up if you move Correa to third base?
Right.
There is kind of that discussion that probably plays some into it, where it might not be as big of a drop. And I can't believe that I'm saying this out loud. But I don't know. I see what you're saying in terms.
The team isn't better for 2026.
No, absolutely not.
I'm not trying to claim that. I'm just saying that I don't think it necessarily cripples them.
Here we got a return for Coulomb. Thanks, Peter. Garrett Horn, left-handed pitcher, 25th ranked prospect in Texas's system. I think he was drafted he's
last year. Tommy John just came back. He's made 9 starts in low A and has 34 strikeouts in 24 2/3 of an inning. So, I mean, he was, I think, 25th on Baseball America's. Oh, that's what it says.
Yep.
Not listed in MLB's. So, I mean, you're talking about an arm that's a ways away, but someone that was injured when he was drafted. So you could probably check your consensus board, Jamie, and find exactly where he was rated.
He's on there. I recognize the name for sure. I think he played for Liberty in college or somewhere like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Boy, that is not what is going on.
Not to toot my own horn, but I guess Carlos Correa also agreed with me. That he was also looking to move to third base, according to himself. So I just wanted to share that.
That's interesting.
That is something.
We are getting some pretty juicy quotes from Twins and former Twins personnel right now, it seems like. That's someplace where we might see a shift. We talked about the young guys maybe didn't step up this year, and hence where we find ourselves where we're at today. How confident are we that this is going to be a difficult time for them intangibly off the field too, in the fact that they're losing Carlos? You would have to imagine at least it's going to be a big change within that clubhouse. I'm curious to see if that's going to have any effect on some of these younger guys who are still trying to maybe settle their feet or get their feet set.
Well, I think this trade deadline has been a shock for a lot of the younger guys, one way or the other, right? Yeah, the Correa is going to be the icing on the cake there. By the way, I think we just made another trade. We'll see if we get some news on this.
Oh boy!
Stay close to your Twitter feeds, kids.
It's got to be Castro.
Another impending free agent probably looks like they've been traded.
Ty France been traded? I've been waiting on that
I don't think he's going to be the guy, but we'll see.
Oh man, Ty France has so much job security now. We were all talking before the trade deadline. Oh, is he going to be waived after the deadline? Ty France, he's going to be a Twin forever.
We're talking Ty France extension, huh?
I'm not shocked if Ty France ends up being DFA'd. I don't know. We'll see.
It's got to be.
I'm telling you. I was just going to pop in and say, we started a Padres site for this deadline, and let me tell you what's exciting, an AJ Preller trade deadline. It's wild over here, man. That's all I got to say about that. He is trading everybody.
Did he move? I have not been keeping up with the league stuff. Did he move CeCe?
Cease has not moved yet, but it looks like he might be going to the Astros. But he got Mason Miller from the Athletics, traded Leo DeVries, one of the best shortstop prospect in baseball. He liquidated like half of his farm for Mason Miller. He just completed a small deal with the Blue Jays. He got Ramon Laureano and oh God, what's his face? Rhino Hearn from the Orioles. Just absolute madness.
All right. All right.
Yeah,
I don't have
Go ahead.
details on the trade that's been happening yet, so I'll shut up until I get something more.
But we can safely say there will be one more Twins trade at least before the 5 p.m. deadline, is what you're getting at.
Yep. I think you'll before the 4:30 half hour before the deadline, we'll probably have some. My guess, usually I get this about 5 minutes ahead of everybody else in the world knowing, as you guys know, or 5 minutes after, and I put it on Slack and get mocked, which is absolutely appropriate. Just so we're clear.
That's true.
I gotta say, while we're waiting for Willie Castro to be traded to the Cubs or something similar, I find the returns for the relievers that the Twins have gotten so far just like very diverse and interesting, and not necessarily in a good way. Like the Duran trade, say again.
Minnesota interesting.
Yeah, Minnesota interesting. Like the Duran trade, I think, like good value, you could say, at least like solid value. The Brock Stewart trade, extremely strange. And then, maybe they've seen something they really like in Horn, but again, he's another, probably going to be a lefty reliever type. Like you hope in 3 years he ends up as someone who contributes in a similar way that Coulomb did. I don't know exactly how excited we should be about Garrett Horn as a return for Coulomb. So, curious for y'all's thoughts on that as we wait for fan favorite Willie Castro to be traded away.
Well, it's an interesting way to approach like deadline rentals for relievers, because you're never going to get a really high level prospect from them who's close to the majors. So are you going to go for more of an interesting arm you think has potential upside that you can work with in the low minors, knowing that they're going to have a 50, 60, 80% bust rate? I don't know if that's necessarily the worst idea on a deadline reliever who is a pure rental.
See, that I can agree with, and I think 2 of the 3 trades you can argue fit that mold. It's the Brock Stewart for James Outman one that I just find super.
Nobody gets that trade. Nobody, like, it's rare that the Twins Daily Slack is almost universally on one side or the other of something, and no one is there thinking that the Brock Stewart trade is something to hold up.
Yeah, I mean, I've been disappointed in all of the relief trades. I mean, I don't know if I'm real disappointed in the Duran trade. That one's fine. I was hoping to be really excited about the Duran trade whenever it came through, and I'm not. It's fine. The Stewart trade seems like a S show. Like, I don't understand I honestly, I just don't understand what's going on. Like, if anything was going to, I have a fair amount of faith in this front office, probably more so than a lot of Twins fans right now. And that was the sort of thing that shook my faith in the front office. Like, I don't know what they're doing there. Right.
But we have Deshaun Kersey at home. Like, what are we doing here?
Right. Exactly. And then, and actually, I thought they would get more for Coulomb than this. How many better left-handed relievers are on the market right now? It just seems, relief market that has kind of, I think the Preller thing is an outlier, right? I don't want to put too much in that, but you can't watch that trade and think about where the Twins were sitting in terms of this relief market and all of the different arms that are being traded and how many assets they had there, and not kind of shake your head like what they got. I
mean, even like the Steven Matz trade, I believe, was for Blaze Jordan. Am I correct on that? Yeah,
that is correct. Yes. And Blaze Jordan,
I feel like
that's a good get.
I feel like that is a very comparable trade to what they could have potentially gotten for Coulomb. I don't know. I saw that and I was encouraged, I guess.
That's a really interesting comparison, because Yeah, I mean, it's not entirely dissimilar. Is Matt? Yeah, Matt's is a free agent at the end of the year, and absolutely, a return of Blaze Jordan is miles better than what the Twins got. With what, Horn? Is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah, Blaze Jordan is a legit prospect in the Red Sox system.
Where are the Correa details? I just
They'll
want to know.
definitely still be hammered out.
Yeah, the longer we wait, the more disappointed we're going to be. So it's really that's the way this deadline has worked out.
If we're not making a trade with Philly, it seems like, then we're not getting the return that is at least somewhat hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, I view the Duran trade as being fine, but given what other relievers have gone for, it's hard to be okay with fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Coulomb, they definitely could have fetched a better return for, because he is the, I want to say, like, second best left-handed reliever in baseball this season behind Aroldis Chapman on a lot of numbers.
Okay, but it's the same thing we talked about last night. If teams are offering better players, you're not settling for lesser returns.
Right.
Right?
So there is that.
Like, they held on to Danny Coulomb until 4:00 or 3:45 on deadline day.
It's a fair point.
They're taking the best offer they think they got. And maybe there was a hitter on another team that was offered. But I mean, taking a chance on a young left-handed arm who was injured when they drafted him. I mean, we don't know how this guy's going to be. I think it's crazy to think that there's better offers out there when we've known Danny Coulom's been on the market for a while, and that the Twins aren't taking the best player that's there. They're making the best deal they can.
Yeah, I guess at this point that is true. We only have not even a half hour.
The question
left
is was it the best deal, a week and a half ago, or is it the best deal right now? Did they not make a deal earlier when the market when they had maybe some better options on the market, and now the musical chairs, the chairs are filling up, and they're having trouble finding a place to end up go with some of their relievers.
Right. Well, and that's what I thought about last night when the Astros the talk started about Correa going to the Astros, and then the Astros trade for a third baseman. I was like, well, there goes your opportunity. One less bidder. It was only one bidder always, and they were going to deal him there. So maybe not the best example, but that's the thing. Like, how many guys are out there looking for left-handed pitchers? Every time one gets traded for, that's one less team. And I just don't think there was a huge. I mean, he sat on the market for a while this winter, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Teams weren't beating.
I mean, he's still Danny Coulomb. No matter how good a year he's had, he's still Danny Coulomb. He's just had a good Danny Coulomb, a good year for Danny Coulomb, right?
Another thing I've been thinking about just the last couple of trade deadlines, the Twins seem to hold a pretty hard bargain, it seems like. They've been in a lot of different discussions and then haven't really been able to cross anything over the finish line too much. That was more in terms of maybe buying. Now we're seeing a plethora of moves. Has their bargaining stance, I mean, has that really changed? Are they still kind of known? Are they still going to be known as holding that kind of hard price after this one? It's going to be interesting to see.
Well, I mean, that comes back to the timing question, right?
Yeah.
Because it very well might be that a week ago they were holding a hard bargain, and now at 4:26 on trade deadline day, one way or the other, they're going to get something for these guys.
Sure.
So it might be well that they thought too highly of some of these guys. I can't. I have to believe that they could have gotten more for Brock Stewart, 3 days ago than they got today. But I also think they could have gotten more for Brock Stewart today than they got today. Like, I don't know exactly what that deal feels like. There's just some level of infatuation with Outman and his skill set that is within our front office that I don't fully understand or see, for lack of a better way of putting it. So,
and that's what I mean. That's who you're getting, right? In all these deals, you're getting guys that you have conviction for. And I think and Jamie and I and Theo talked about it last night with the return on Duran. Like, if the Twins really, really like those two guys, that deal looks a heck of a lot better
Sure.
than if it's another organization that viewed those guys as lesser prospects, right? The team that, and that, just talking with scouts, that's the thing. Like, the guys we get are guys we get because we like them more than everybody else, more often than not. So,
Yeah.
And Altman, I mean, he's if they didn't have, if you're trying to give a guy a shot that is a center fielder that can hit for power and can field because you don't have a center fielder, like, I get that. But when you just added him into the mix of left-handed hitting corner guys and a really good center fielder, unless they're going to start DH and Buxton now, right? I mean,
Right.
I don't know how that all works, but I just, that to me was the weirdest of the moves so far, just because he doesn't seem to fit a role. But
Well, yeah, and I'm never really sure, like, how much longer are they going to keep him on their 40-man roster? I mean, they've been carrying him as a backup center fielder now in AAA for basically a year and a half, right? They called him up a couple times. He hits 130 and he gets sent back down, and pinch hitting role. He's essentially been Kersey, right? I don't think he's Kersey. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not putting down Kersey with all due respect to Sean Kersey. I think he's probably better than we think he is, but I mean, that is a fringe 40-man guy. That is not somebody that you end up. And you would think the Dodgers have some 40-man roster crunch moves almost every year. So, I just don't. Can you not wait around till the off season and then take a look and see when the Rule 5 draft comes along, whether or not the Dodgers are going to have to figure out some place to get rid of Outman?
I mean, but that's a bet on Stewart's arm holding up. I really feel like a huge part of this was a kind of, and I hate to, pretend that I know what's going on behind closed doors and all that, but it really does feel like a huge part of this was we need to move Stewart now before his arm falls off.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to bet that it lasts through the end of the year. And I don't like saying that too confidently, but that's kind of what it seems.
I mean, that's fair. I will say that privately, the Twins seem to express that they thought that the last surgery had, in a similar way that Buxton's surgery ended up fixing to the knee to the point where, we just feel like we've got a lot more rope on this now than we used to. It's an easier thing to manage. I feel like it's they had a similar feeling about Stewart, but if they really believed that, yeah, I suppose they probably should have continued to bet on Stewart and have him next year. So maybe this is evidence, like what you said, Greg, that they didn't really believe ultimately that.
Theo, hit that music.
Yeah, I could hit the music.
Play the music.
Yeah. It's not happy music, but we've chose this music and a trade has happened.
Who could have seen this coming?
John, was this the trade you were alluding to? Bobby
Castro to the Cubs?
Reported. Yep.
No, it was a different, but if we want to talk about Castro to the Cubs, let's talk about it.
Okay, what was yours?
No, I was joking.
Okay, fair enough.
We weaseled it out of him by pretending that it's been announced. So
That's
live on camera.
And have we heard what we got back?
No, this is just announced as an official trade.
It just said prospects in one tweet.
Ooh, multiple
prospects.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Any teenage catchers?
Please.
We need a third 19-year-old catcher in the system.
Peter Labuza, how are we doing?
I'm doing. Excuse my language. I'm doing fantastic. I'm holding the baseball former Twin Carlos Correa through me at the beginning of the season.
Oh, you're getting sentimental in here.
Rough going. I mean, wow. I mean, what do you say? Like, I don't know. How do you even get invested in this team for like next year, right? It's a total punt. Like, I'll put $20 down. Like, the Twins could make a White Sox or Rockies run next year, depending on how things go.
I don't know. I still feel like they have enough pieces to not be a complete disaster. If we call this season not a complete disaster, I think we may have redefined what a complete disaster is in recent years between the Rockies, not the Cubs, the White Sox, and the Athletics. But I don't know, man. I'm very confused as to how I feel about the next 2 years. Because there's part of me that says like there's talent on this team.
The rotation is still good, right? Like, I mean, we have to take the rotation as good, but it's like
crowded.
Do you keep the rotation is the question now, right? Like, I mean, there's no reason like Joe Ryan isn't traded this offseason or Pablo isn't traded this offseason, and then like Bailey Ober's your frontline starter by that point, and then it, you get things
that's totally
real dicey.
The Red Sox are making a late effort to acquire Joe Ryan, according to John Morosi.
I've heard so of the Yankees.
So
I had somebody yesterday. I said somebody yesterday tell me, I'm not sure how good this source is, that they expected Ryan to be traded to either the Yankees or the Red Sox. That one way or the other, that those two were going to eventually kind of get into enough of a pissing match or bidding war about them that the Twins would get an offer that they can't refuse at some point. But that I didn't know how much of that was wishful thinking versus any legitimate information. So, but it's interesting that Morosi's reporting Red Sox, and I have a source telling me that the Yankees are jumping back in right now on him too. So we'll see.
Oh, Greta is going to be devastated.
Oh no.
That's
I just still wish I liked any of these prospects. I mean, Tyel sounds great in 3 or 4 years, maybe, right? Like, I just don't know. Like, I don't know, like, which prospect from any of this so far today that you're just like, oh, this is a huge difference maker. I see like a pathway, right? Like, that was always the story with the White Sox last year was like, okay, there's a pathway to this team being good. They obviously flopped on their core. But there was a sense that like this team will be good again. The Rockies. That's just a completely different story. But like right now, I don't even, I was going through the farm system when, I think John, you asked us too at some point, right? Like, where would you put the guys from the Duran train? And I was just like, I don't know. There's talent there, but a lot of it is like 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to have the Twins Daily prospect community take a look at all of the guys they got back in this particular. Well, I will be interested in what the August 1st or August 5th Twins top daily or Twins prospects list looks like after adding all of these guys and where they end up kind of falling in.
I mean, two guys in their top 10, the return for Duran, and then Mendez in their top 20, and. Yep. The rest are probably. I mean, I think Jimenez is in that 20 to 30 range, and then all these other guys they've got so far all fall outside the top 30 because they're far enough away or they have just big enough question marks. But that's organizational depth that you need to build. I mean, Duran was one of 3 guys and not the headliner when they traded Escobar, right? You take a shot on something and hope a lottery ticket hits. And I think that's the pitcher that they got from the Phillies he's a 16-year-old, right? I mean, he could turn out to be absolutely awful and never make it to Double-A, or he could turn out to be a top of the line guy. And that's why you make these trades, right? You're not going to get big league ready guys for everybody because teams just want to hold on to them.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we can judge it within 24 hours based on sort of what their rankings are and but really what we're judging is our expectations versus sort of the national rankings on these guys. We don't really have any idea what they're going to be. So.
Whoa! The Red Sox channel is going nuts. Joe Ryan might be going to the Red Sox, so I'm looking into it now, trying to figure out what they're going nuts about.
Well, I mean, if Joe Ryan is traded, I think that is the point of no return, where you just kind of wash your hands of the next year or potentially two. I don't mean to be alarmist, but I don't think
the tweet was deleted from Fox Sports. That originally. So
Fox Sports probably jumped the gun on what Morosi put out there.
Sounds like somebody accidentally hit send on a tweet they weren't supposed to quite yet.
just to go back to, I think Jeremy's very good point. I think my expectation and hope for the deadline was a reload for 26, because you felt there was like, between Lewis kind of getting back to shape, Buxton, if he, was there, Correa obviously maybe just throwing it away as like, this was the bad year and maybe next year he bounces back. And then the rotation, there was a sense that like, if you traded these rentals and got some sort of big league pieces that could kind of replace the Cody Clemens and Ty Francis of the world, you could have like a legitimate shot at the AL Central again next year. And like, that doesn't exist at all. And that's the tough part going into just thinking about next season, I think, for me.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I mean, I will say about Ryan the same thing that we said about Stewart. I don't know if he can stay healthy for a full year. August 1st, this time last year, we were like, hey, we've really got something here. And then, a week later in Chicago, he ends up, getting hurt. We still haven't seen it for an entire year. And it's not totally clear that what we were going to get out of him going forward was going to be, that wasn't still going to be an open question for him for the 2026, 2027. I mean, frankly, if it happens again, if he ends up missing, the last month or two, at some point you got to decide, like, this is 3 years in a row. So, you can see that the Twins understand that there's some level of risk associated with trying to trust Ryan to perform the way he has been performing for those last 2 months of the year. So, hey, can I ask you guys, I maybe you talked about this before I jumped on. What's our thought process on Hendry Mendez? I really like this guy's profile. And I was wondering, you guys know a crap load more about minor league prospects than I do. What's sort of the overall thought process or feeling about that return for Bader?
He can hit, but he hits the ball on the ground a lot. So he's got like a weird corner outfielder profile, which without power right now. And so, I mean, there's certainly things to like, and he's young enough that things can change. But yeah, I mean, when you have a guy that can hit it and walks as much as he strikes out,
right?
You like that type of profile, right? But when he doesn't have the ability to play center field and doesn't hit home runs, it's a weird profile.
There's a potential dead end there in terms of his development if he can't start to elevate the ball a little bit. I mean, I see a 21-year-old in Double-A hitting 290 and, like you said, walking about as much as he strikes out. First of all, I think it's interesting that both he and the catcher they got from the Phillies, seem to be sort of hit first guys as opposed to the sort of guys they've been they've flooded their system with, which is sort of like, oh, they're really good. They can play anywhere. We're just not totally sure that they're going to be able to hit.
See,
right?
But is that the truth, or is it more like we're going to take guys that can hit more recently anyway, like the Keishels of the world,
right?
And then try to figure out where they're going to fit defensively. And like it's Jimenez too, the catcher / first baseman. Like, let's get guys that can hit, and we'll figure out a home later. And I think they've kind of gone to that more, especially in the draft. Like, we're going to take guys and we're going to see, and like Brandon Winokur, what the heck is he? Is he an outfielder? Is he an infielder? He's a powerful something. And so I think that's kind of the idea here. And if you have a guy, if you can get a guy that has some sort of skill set to catch, then maybe he can stick there. But if you hit well enough to play in the corner, that's okay too. So yeah, they've added some intriguing bodies. It's who knows when you're 3 or 4 years from the major leagues.
It feels a lot like they've been adding and maybe even developing a lot of tweeners, for lack of a better word. Like, this is not your profile corner outfield guy. This is not your profile catcher. This is not your profile first baseman. This is, he does a lot of things pretty good, and then as you get further up the ladder, you're sort of like, yeah, but I'm not sure where we put him or what we do with him. And even up to the point, like you said, Keishel's kind of at that point right now. Like, I'm excited about Keichel, but the concerns about Keichel are like, yeah, but where does he play? Can he play any place well enough to justify his bat? Maybe his bat justifies him playing any place. You're working on kind of multiple axes. You're working on both I'm not sure, and actually, Jimenez is the same way. If he hits here and he fields here, where do we end up playing him? Where does he settle into a place that we can really trust him on a ongoing basis? I mean, to some extent, Julian was kind of like that, right? Like we didn't really know where Julian was going to be, right? And we're kind of like, well, yeah, but he's got an intriguing hit tool. I mean, not an exceptional hit tool. Like he's not just going to hit no matter where you put him, but he could maybe hit just enough here to justify playing there. And I mean, even Miranda, you can kind of say that about to some extent.
Right.
And then when they end up not quite hitting one or the other, then what do you got?
That's the thing.
You got a AAA player.
Right. If the bat doesn't play, because that's the whole bet's on the bat, then you've lost it. But I still think, with Miranda and Julian, like you got, especially now, you got to give it another shot. You have to, right? I mean, you've tore it down. Let's see what they have.
Well, I mean, I think you're going to see something of that in August and September. I will be real interested. One of the things I'll be interested in seeing about what happens here by 5 o'clock is because I'll be interested to see how many different open spots there are out there. I don't really see Miranda necessarily coming up in August and September now, to be honest with you. And I'm not totally sure. I can see Julian making room on the roster. I'm not sure where he's. Well, I guess now that you've traded Carlos Correa, you've got room for Julian on a regular basis.
They have 3 spots on the big league roster and they're 40-man. Right.
I will give you one name that is definitely going to be added to the 40-man roster who's currently not there. Peyton Neals. I think he has a clean opportunity to make it in. He's been playing a lot better now. He can play all these infield positions. I mean, he might be the best replacement option internally for Willie Castro right now. I mean, he's played 30-some games in the outfield, but they're not going to put a 5-5 guy in the outfield at the major league level. Obviously, Austin Martin could be coming back too. He's definitely been playing a lot better than Jose Miranda and can do some of the outfield platooning. But with this James Outman acquisition, it's kind of murky to see where they're going to choose tomorrow, who's going to join them in Cleveland between the two. But I think we are seeing a clear shot for Peyton Neals to be one of these minor leaguers that you wouldn't expect to be making his major league debut, getting into the mix here.
I'm surprised they're sending Outman to AAA. I don't like, I mean, I guess he's too close to Deshaun Kersey in terms of profile, but like.
Well, they also sent Abel to AAA, and I'm guessing that Abel will be up. I think that it's like more of a sorting thing, kind of holding people at AAA until they figure out their roster going into tomorrow is what I would guess. I think that I would assume that there's a pretty good chance that James Outman is going to be on the Twins tomorrow.
From what I've been told, no one's been taken out of the lineup from Toledo that is supposed to play today to go to Cleveland right now. So I think they are going to wait till tomorrow morning just to not have a logistical hassle.
Or at least until the trade deadline passes.
Yeah.
Well, they start their game at 6 o'clock, so an hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right.
Or pretty much right when it ends, I should say.
This might be a dangerous exercise based on some of the expectations that maybe we set for ourselves with the Joan Duran return. I feel like there's a lot of kind of high profile top prospects that guys were really, really hoping for. And this, the return they got maybe was not quite up to those standards. For a potential Joe Ryan trade to either the Yankees or the Red Sox, are there any names that stick out to you guys or to anybody in the chat? Please send us some comments of who you would need to see back in any
Spencer Jones.
Like
Hey, Spencer Jones,
to the Red
please.
Sox? Marcelo Meyer. That would be the long and short. Absolutely. I would demand
Roman Anthony.
They're not going to give up Roman Anthony. That would be my first ask.
That's what they need.
I would happily take Marcelo Meyer headlining a package.
Well, I mean, if they just get Spencer Jones, they become a team exclusively constructed of left-handed outfielders and 19-year-old catchers. And I think that that's a winning formula.
I mean, at some point, right? Like, some point you develop these people, like you take your Spencer Steers or Christian or Encarnacio Strands, and then you use them as bullets later, right? Like, so, if you take a bunch of these 19-year-olds who develop and they don't have a pathway to the majors, then that's hopefully your place in like 27, 28, where like you go get, I don't know, Johan Duran back or whatever, right, from the Phillies.
I think the reality is if they traded Joe Ryan to the Red Sox, they're getting the Garcia outfielder with all the consonants in his first name.
The
Like all of
password.
them.
The password,
Password.
best nickname in baseball right now.
So that would be
Hoxton, or I can't even pronounce his name. It's insane.
Yeah, but it would probably be a handful of guys, right? I mean, we're talking him, we're talking some pitchers, but yeah, who really knows? And that's the thing. Like, hold on to Joe Ryan if you want to until the winter, and then have a bidding war again.
It's a tricky thing too, Jeremy. You brought it up earlier that the Twins are going to have their own conviction on these players, and they're going to have far more information than we do, or than common fan who sees a lot of these prospects mostly as numbers on a page. You know what I mean? Different like national rankings. Not to say that there's no value in that by any means, but like you said before, it's probably going to be more important based on the team's conviction of these players themselves.
I think we have the return for Castro. Double-A pitchers Ryan Gallagher and Sam Armstrong. Ryan Gallagher is 22-year-old, 8th rated prospect in the Cubs system, currently at Double-A. And Armstrong, I do not see in their top 30. So Gallagher seems to be the headliner of that deal. He was a 6th round pick by the Cubs in 2024.
Gallagher is a helium guy. He really flew up Cubs rankings this year. So he's one of those guys where he wasn't even in anybody's top 20 going into the season. But then he had a really strong May and June, maybe, and he flew up a bunch of prospect lists during that time.
So it looks like the Dodgers are getting, not the Dodgers, I'm sorry. They are the team trading the Red Sox the starting pitching help that they are hoping for. Dustin May is apparently going to Boston per Jeff Passan. So that might impact the possibility of Joe Ryan being moved in the next 10, 15 minutes.
You would think
Sandy
so.
Alcantara staying pat, not that he's had the best season.
I was pretty flabbergasted seeing Dustin May's name floated out there as like, oh, if the Twins trade somebody to the Dodgers, he could come back. He's a free agent at the end of the year, I want to say, isn't he?
Yep.
Yep.
Padres are getting Nestor Cortez from the Brewers.
Did he ever come back and pitch for the Brewers after his?
No more Prowler.
No, I'm not sure. I don't remember that.
Because he was the one that got torpedo batted, right? And then got hurt. And then did he ever?
He has not been activated from the 60-day IL. He hasn't pitched since the 3rd of April. So that's second start that he had. I want to see if he's
going to come back in Game 5 against it. He's going to come back in Game 5 in the Dodgers bottom of the 9th for the Padres in a relief role against Freddie Freeman.
Okay, it does look like he is on a rehab assignment right now. His last 2 starts were with AAA Nashville, and they were decent. So we'll see what the Padres get in him.
So this might be it then.
Never say never. I have faith that one more crazy thing might happen to just destroy everybody else. But I, personally, can't wait. But yeah, like I said earlier, I feel like, I don't know, I can, as an endless optimist, you guys know I'm super optimistic about everything. I can talk myself into believing that the Twins aren't going to be absolutely terrible next year, unless a Ryan deal does come down the pipe or happens over the offseason, whatever. I'm plucky and optimistic enough to believe that there is like a decent team there. But if they do move Ryan, I don't know how you come back from that.
I think the biggest question for me is like, what does if I think Rosenthal said today there's a framework for the ownership sale, but I think it's the kind of framework that's been reported on again. I think he floated like in a late August announcement. So that probably gets you in place, gets approved by winter meetings, right? Gets you in place for next season. But I feel like at this point we can't expect anyone who's going to spend money like right there. They'll maybe like, the salary will stay pat probably, right? You'll stay in the 140 range. You're not going to
Do we
see
think
like
that?
aggressive
Because
changes.
so much of the like narrative about like, oh, get rid of Correa's contract has been met with, well, I don't think that they will fill that back in. I think so. If the payroll was 140-ish this year. Let's assume that the Twins are paying $20 million of Correa's salary. Would we think that the payroll next year would be 120, or do we think that there would be kind of a getting back up to 140 one way or another? Do we actually believe that or no?
I think 130 is fair, like a reasonable. That's what they've seemingly, that's been 130 to 140 is what they went with 2 years ago when they were cutting payroll. And ultimately they went higher than that this year, but then they obviously have saved a bunch of money at the trade deadline, which suggests maybe, I haven't actually done the numbers, but I wouldn't be shocked if they chopped $10 million or probably more than that, $12, $15 million off of whatever their payroll level was at the beginning of the season, given these late season trades. So I think 130 is reasonable. And right now I've got them at, keeping their core guys at about 102. The truth is that they could go out and try and get a hitter, which they need to do. Like,
yeah.
The one thing now, that hitter is going to replace Correa, who was supposed to be a hitter but hasn't really been a hitter. I still think, like I said, you're kind of putting your trust in like Buxton, Wallner, Lewis, right? Beyond that, you're looking for Keishel, Brooks Lee, Trevor Larnach, Edward Julian, etc. Like, but those are the guys at the bottom half of the lineup that you're hoping find their way to the point where they're productive in the middle of the lineup or the top of the lineup. But you still have to count on those three guys. And ultimately now you do probably have money to try and replace Correa's bat with a better bat. And you've got a little more flexibility on where to do it now, because you've got Lee covering at shortstop and you've got openings at like DH.
It's a pretty tough hitters free agency market though. Like, unless you're like going all in on Kyle Tucker, which I don't see why Kyle Tucker would ever come to the Twins right now. Right. Maybe like Eugenio Suarez, though he's obviously a third baseman. But I think the toughest thing is going to be that the market's just pretty messy because so many people just get locked up in extensions now, like Vlad or whoever.
Just one funny little trade quick that we were kind of expecting. So if you remember yesterday, the Reds and Pirates made a trade and former Twin Taylor Rogers went to Pittsburgh as a salary dump. Well, Pittsburgh has already gotten rid of him. He's going to the Cubs per Kent Rosenthal. So he didn't even have to suit up in a Pirates uniform, and he's already got a new team. Any last predictions for the last 5 minutes before the deadline is in? Are we going to get one more Twins trade within the last 5 minutes, or will it be announced after the deadline officially hits?
We hear about that a lot. When was the last time a really big monumental trade was announced?
I think there was one last year.
Was there? Okay.
It may not be like the superstar level, but there was definitely one late one last year that was like, oh, that's surprising.
I remember
the Yankees
back in
just got Jose Caballero from the Rays.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Who just debuted this year?
No, he's been up for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay. To replace Anthony Volpe, which if anyone's been watching Yankees world implode on Volpe's, has more errors than a one-armed man had in a season in 1893 or something like that.
They still haven't pulled the pick. We haven't seen the Yankees pull the trigger on any pitchers yet, right?
Just Bednar earlier today.
No starters.
Yeah, no starters.
Do we think? What do we think the odds are that Vasquez ends up being part of some salary dump someplace? They end up eating some part of it.
I mean, I feel like if they're getting out from a lot of Correa money, I don't know. I don't know. I would never put it past a billionaire to to, save me another couple $1 million. But I feel like the Twins have been doing pretty good at dumping salary today. At least in my opinion, I think that they get a gold star for that one.
Yes. Huh. I just got an interesting text.
I don't understand how you just don't send Vasquez to the Red Sox for basically
Whatever you
nothing.
can get. Right. Yeah.
Whatever you can get. Even pay half of his remaining salary. Like the fans
Well, I
there
think
love
you'd have
him. They
to,
need
right.
a backup catcher.
Yeah.
They need a backup catcher. Maybe he turns from terrible to just bad if he can bounce 3-4 doubles off the monster before the end of the year. I mean,
honestly,
it makes a lot of sense.
I think that the thought process is probably somewhat close to how it was in 2021 when they held on to Andrelton Simmons and Michael Pineda. I mean, when you've got a bunch of young pitchers in your rotation, I think that it's understandable if you want to maybe keep around a Christian Vasquez to work with them for the rest of the year, make their lives a little bit easier, make I don't know, have him impart wisdom, whatever. I think that there probably is value beyond, I don't know, having the Red Sox send you $5 for Christian Vasquez.
I think that's probably fair. Yeah. I think that's probably accurate. It still doesn't make me think they necessarily would turn down the chance at saving themselves $1.5 million in 2024, given the situation over there. So.
Maton to the Rangers.
Yeah, stay tuned, folks. Got
Oh,
till
boy.
5.
Was
We'll
that ominous? Or are you making a threat?
No threats. Just getting some weird messages here about last minute craziness.
Jesse Eisenberg will not return as Mark Zuckerberg in the Social Network 2. Sorry.
That's
That is
exactly
true,
the news we needed today.
Traded to. He's going to be starring in the.
Traded for a player to be named later.
I'm just waiting for the text from my agent saying that I got traded to a different blog.
I know, Brock. We'll talk. I'm like, what do the Padres need cover the rest of the year? I'm up late.
Oh man,
we traded you to a Cleveland blog. That'd be the best.
Oh yeah,
emotion or White Sox.
If I got traded to a Cleveland blog, I don't know. I think that they'd have my head on a spike within 3 days.
We're just about there, Greg, over here. So what's the difference?
You're the new Cleveland. You're the new Cleveland blog account, social media account manager. Yeah.
I mean, it can't get much worse than theirs.
Oh yeah, that's pretty bad.
Tigers working hard for starting pitcher. Oh.
Do we think Jax kind of blew up his potential deadline in the last couple of weeks? I think between the Dodgers game and then that Red Sox game, it just felt like I think that became clear. Keep Jax just through next year to the deadline when hopefully he emerges as a closer and an ace and then trade him. But it just felt like those last few weeks were so ugly.
Yeah, I mean, the bullpen doesn't look well. The bullpen doesn't look terrible, provided Varland is not who we've seen for the last week, right? If you got the bullpen being anchored by Jax, and you're hoping that some of the stuff we've seen from him this year isn't a concern, but if being anchored by Jax and Varland, that's not a terrible core to start out with for the 2026 season, and especially you got Cole Sands still around. There's some hope there.
Well, and any of these starting pitchers that they have, right, when Lopez is healthy and if Ryan's still around and Ober, Matthews, Sim, Festa, Abel, Adams, Raya, Ole, failed starters make the best relievers.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to keep all 9 of those guys, right? And Andrew Morris, if he can do anything, CJ Culpepper, Corey Lewis, they're all close. And so you give the guys a shot and you put them in the pen if they need to. And Connor Prelip is not far away. They're
right.
going to have options. The the bullpen as it's constructed, or as it was constructed, was like I mentioned, a guy that they got in a trade that was a long ways away. They just traded 2 guys they picked up as well. Stewart is a minor league
Oh,
trade.
here we go.
Oh,
The
no.
captain just dropped it.
Yep.
The Tampa Bay Rays are getting Griffin Jack.
Are you shitting me?
No,
just happened.
this is passing.
Wow, it's
This is not the troll accounts.
And
And
you
Charlie
guys said
Martin
that
is
there will
going
be
to the
no-
Tigers at the same time. Wow.
Who's going to the
There will
Tigers?
be No
Charlie
late
Martin.
announcements. Now look at you. Egg on your face. I was a believer.
All right.
Well, now it's Louis Varlin.
Well, let's see I wonder what underwhelming return we're going to get on that bullpen arm. I can hardly wait.
Well, let's see.
Man, what is
Greg,
They've gotta
what
get
does
that
this
return
mean?
out soon?
Yeah, we haven't had a what does this mean for a while, Greg.
What does
Oh,
this
we have
mean
to do.
for
We have
Louis
to do the
Varlin?
Rays tweet. Love this trade for the Rays. Who did they
Oh,
get? Who did we give up?
Wait, hold up.
No.
Rosenthal says Varlin to the Blue Jays.
No way.
No.
Yeah,
There's
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
it's not stopping there.
Wow.
okay. So where's Joe Ryan going then? Where what?
The Red Wedding.
They,
Oh no!
They
it's
literally-
also Ty France. He's also going to the Toronto Blue Jays. Oh my goodness!
No, wait. Are you saying France went to the Blue Jays, so I have to go right about Ty France right now?
Yeah, you have to go.
God, come
Louis
on,
Varland
man.
and Ty France to the Blue Jays.
No. Wait, what?
Is Michael Tonkin the new closer?
I think
Did you
so,
say
yeah.
Louis Varland?
It's time for Cole Sands to pitch.
It is
Jack-
time for Cole Sands to pitch.
Jax to the Rays, Varland to the Jays.
And
Jack-
Ty France.
Wow.
Oh no!
So all top 5 guys we had in the bullpen
Wow.
are now gone.
So, Theo, tell us about the Saints bullpen.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, Travis Adams has a job in the major leagues for the rest
Oh
of the
my
season.
God. Welcome, Pearson.
But their
Old.
bullpen has not been good. You want to know how bad they have? I think their bottom 3 in team ERA in the International League this season. Let me pull up some of the stats, and this is cumulative. For the season, the Saints pitching staff has a 5.14 ERA, a 1.56 WHIP, and an opponent's average of 270. So we're looking like we're going to be hearkening back to the days of 2011, 2012, 2013 when you get the PJ Walters of the world, your Pedro Hernandez's. Maybe you get some hope with a guy that is similar to Samuel Deduno, but it looks like we are heading in the direction with what is happening.
Charlie Barnes up to.
We're about to add some prospects here, and this is going to be fun for prospect watchers.
I hope.
Oh
so.
yeah,
Because
our
Jax
show's
is-
going to have a fun time for the rest of the season.
Brock, I just want to let you know we're going to need to expand that top prospect list to the top 30 or maybe top 35. Because we're just going to be
Well,
so
it's
jammed
only
up.
fair. I'm reducing the Padres' top prospect list to 3. So it all balances out in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah. If only they were be moving from one to the other, that would be even better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Leo DeVries would look real good on the Colonels or something, but instead we got what's his name again? Oh yeah, Outman.
So I have not seen. Oh yeah, there's Ty France too. So yeah, there's now 6 spots to fill on the roster.
Aaron Sabato, learn green line, buddy.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah, he's going to be coming up. How about that?
Speaking of Outman, I too have been traded. I am on my way to the Los Angeles Dodgers. It was great chatting with you all, and I'm sure that we'll be doing this again sometime soon.
Goodbye, Lou.
All right, thanks for having me.
What do you even
Man.
say at this point?
You don't.
I mean,
So,
yeah,
Not
words are
to
not
drop.
going to.
I'm writing the BP annual essay for next year's book, and wow, I don't know what I'm going to fucking write about now. Excuse my language.
Oh, there it goes. We've been demonetized.
Okay, here's reported return is Kendrys Rojas and Alan Rodin going back to the Twins for Varland and France.
Okay, so Rojas is a lefty at AAA.
Yeah.
He's only made one start, but he's a top 5 prospect in the Blue Jays system according to MLB, which isn't, I don't think, a great system.
No, it's not a great system at all.
The other guy is
I mean-
not even in the top 30 on there, so that's underwhelming.
Rodin just graduated out of prospect status, maybe.
Okay.
He was somewhat regarded, but I believe he has struggled a fair amount in Toronto.
Okay. And Varland. My son is looking at me, and he just told me Jax was traded, and I told him Varland was too, and he gave me quite a look.
Yeah, it's one of those days.
So
This is red wedding-ish. You're right. Now at the point where, at least if you're in the bullpen, like it is.
Taj Bradley's coming back. Dan just reported Taj Bradley's coming back. Okay.
Ooh. So Rodin, I believe, was a top 100 prospect at one point. He is a corner outfielder, first baseman type. He's not going to give you a whole lot of defensive versatility. Yeah, he has been real bad. 64 OPS plus in Toronto. But let me see. I thought he had cracked a couple top 100 lists, but maybe I'm wrong. No, it looks like he has not. But he was a pretty highly regarded prospect there for a while. He had an OPS, 800 to 900 at various levels throughout the minor leagues.
Is Taj Bradley making any money this year?
No, he's on pre-arb.
Yeah.
But
he's
won't be
had
next year.
It's his fourth season. Yeah, fourth full season.
It looks like he might be a Super 2. He started this year with a year and 114 days service time.
His strikeouts really dropped off this year.
Wait, so
I mean,
this
reclamation
outfielder they got from the Blue Jays is a left-handed hitting outfielder?
Yep. Believe so.
Yeah,
I know. They can't help themselves.
Wow. Yeah. Taj Bradley, I mean,
team control.
There's that, yeah.
This is what? This is just going to be all left-handed outfielders and 19-year-old catchers. This is.
I mean, they got to field the team somehow, and that's their preference.
I mean, won't somebody? Jeez. Wow. Okay.
I think all the anger and frustration that was directed at Carlos Correa's trade 2 hours earlier is now all being put into Louis Varland being dealt away.
Under team control till 2030, and
he's a local kid.
Is Bradley the whole return for Jax, or is he?
That's all I'm seeing right now.
He can't be.
That can't be right.
No.
What does this mean for Joe Ryan? What does this mean for Pablo Lopez? My goodness. There it is. You guys wanted
Minnesota?
Here it is.
You're very defeated, Greg. I can tell.
I've been defeated. This is wow.
So that was 9 roster spots. Unless there's some, there are occasionally these late breaking ones, but the post deadline. But I think we're done. But that's 9 roster spots to replace, including 5 in the bullpen.
Mark Topkin of the Tampa Bay Times says the deal is 1-for-1. Jack Bradley.
Okay. What?
This is official reporting, man.
Is this the same office that traded Nelson Cruz for Joe Ryan? And I know that one was kind of 40-man crunch for the Rays, but this is the same office, right?
Yep, pretty much. Minus Thad.
So what they've got is, do they have 9 MLB-ish starting pitchers right now? 10?
Well, assuming that assuming that Ober's going to be starting, right? So you have Ryan, Ober, Matthews, Sim, Bradley, Festa when he's healthy, but he's not right now. And then I would say Abel fits in that mix soon, right? Festa when he's back, that's 7. But the only guys I have in their bullpen right now are Sands, Topa, Tonkin, Funderburk, and Davis.
You can. Travis Adams will be back up.
Adams.
Pearson more than likely. You got to add Erasmo Ramirez now or Jose Arena. Those are the 2 veteran guys they have hanging out St. Paul who will likely be added just based off of seniority. I mean, Raya, they're not ready to move him to the bullpen yet. I think if you're going to move one of the 2 prospects that is in that starting rotation bullpen full time, it's Corey Lewis, because if you can have a 80+ mile per hour knuckleball just trying to get 3 outs every other day, that's someone who could really have a lot of upside there. But I don't know if he's even ready for the majors right now.
You're making me nauseous with a knuckleballer out of the bullpen.
This might be a like you piggyback. You almost treat it like AAA, where you piggyback Abel with somebody. Right, and you
absolutely
you let them go twice through the order. So it's like we go Festa Abel on one night, then you go Ryan, then you come back with, Zebby and another guy like Pearson Ole, and
so
your bullpen.
There's this interesting tweet we have here from Bob Nightingale. I want to get John's take on it.
I saw that.
That's it. So Bob tweets here, the Minnesota Twins were about $440 million in debt, erased a huge chunk of it by trading away virtually their roster in a matter of 12 hours. No wonder Carlos Correa wanted out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of that I buy. I mean, they've absolutely saved money. The Correa thing is a big part of it. We don't know how much money they saved on that. I presume they saved $15 million per year going forward. That isn't going to be the Polat's problem, right? The Polat's problem is going to be what they have this year. Let's see. I mean, let's take a look at what 2024 salaries were that they traded away. Clearly, Correa, they probably saved $10 million on. Duran and Jax, they saved maybe $2 million total on those 2. I mean, I could go through the rest, but the point is that the free agent, you were going to save that money one way or the other, and that doesn't require deep cuts, right? Mm-hmm. So, especially if you had found a home for Vasquez, right, which saves you, another $3.3 million if you're not picking up any of that. They could have saved about $10 million that way, and if they traded Correa, that's another, $10 million this year, provided they didn't have to pay any of that. So that's $20 million. But the bullpen stuff, it doesn't save you that much money. I mean, those guys weren't making that much money this year. Now they're making a bunch of money next year. And so if you're taking a look down the road, the fact that Durant probably was going to get a $7 million salary next year, Jack's probably maybe $4 million salary, Stewart maybe $2 million salary. And if you thought, well, we're going to have to trade those guys away anyway, but Varland was still going to be making the minimum, right? I mean, there's no reason to trade Varland on that.
And that doesn't even add up to $15 million.
Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, once they traded Correa, I felt like they'd freed up enough. If part of the thing driving them this trade deadline was, we're looking forward to the offseason, and we take a look at what we've got underneath, what we're going to have to pay people next year, and we're already got a cramped payroll, and we need to free up some money if we're going to get a hitter, or if we're going to, if we're not going to trade away, some other big names.
The Twins
they kind of already done that. Sorry,
the Twins are sending $33 million to Houston.
They're sending 33.
Twins are paying $33 million of the remaining 103, according to Bob.
Well, that's
sounds about
pretty
right.
Good. I mean,
do we know if that's going to be split over the 3 years or immediately at once?
Well, I wonder how much of it was split over this year, right? Because they still owe him $12 million this year, right? Of the $103 million they owe him, like 91 or about that was the next 3 years, and 12 of it was still this year. And that's the money that the Pohlads have to pay, right? The other ones that's going to go to the future owners as a piece. So yeah, it might be. What's that?
If there's a prospect coming back from Houston, we have not heard that name yet either.
No, yeah, that's right.
It was reported one prospect, so
but we just don't know the name.
Mm.
I wouldn't be shocked. That number doesn't. I wouldn't be shocked if we get almost nothing in terms of our prospect. Like that number, if they're really only paying, basically $10 million a year, that essentially Houston's paying $20 million a year for Correa to play third base. I don't expect them to get a particularly good prospect back in return for that. That seems like a lot of money to be paying for Correa. So,
this office, right? I think we can look at was it 21 that they traded Cruz and Barrios? Was that the year? And 22, there was a lot of hope, right? They went out and got Sonny Gray. It was that was the first year they brought was that the first year they brought Pablo back, or was that
no?
The
he was 23.
23. But right, 22 obviously was kind of a flop of the year for various injury reasons, and now I think they're just right. This is definitely a fold that everything we've done for the last 5 years is a flop, and we have to restart from scratch.
This is basically potentially the first time that they've ever just not tried to compete. And there's a long time between now and the beginning of next season. Who knows? I'm not a fortune teller or anything, but this is the first time that it feels like they've completely just torn everything down and said, who knows what's going to come in 2026. Other than having 9 starting pitchers, I feel like that signals that. I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but given the number of starting pitchers, MLB type starting pitchers that they have right now, I mean, I feel, I don't know, reasonably confident thinking that Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan could definitely be on the market over the offseason then.
As soon as someone gets Tommy John, they're going to be available. Someone else gets Tommy John, right? A team's going to be screaming.
All right, we have the prospect return for Carlos Correa per Chandler Rome. High A left-hander Matt Mikulski. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Yes, let out another heavy sigh, Greg. I mean, that is all we can do at this point. I'm looking.
He's not on MLB.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me that they didn't get. I mean, that if they're really only picking up $33 million worth of that salary, this was a pretty significant salary now. Yeah, I'm
not on Eric Longenheden's list for Fangraphs.
So let me kind of put where this leaves the team for 2026, and you guys tell me whether or not you think that means that they blew everything up. Okay, you don't have a bench and you don't have a bullpen. That's the two things. I mean, those are the realities that they're dealing with. But I mean, those are things that this team has not particularly valued, right? Those are the things they fill around the edges. They don't have a bench. They don't have a bullpen. The lineup looks something like Jeffers at catcher, Clemens at first base, Keishel at second base, Royce Lewis at third base, Brooks Lee at short, Larnick, Buxton, Wallner in the outfield, and DH is TBD, right? Maybe Julian, maybe somebody else, right? You've got a rotation of Lopez, Ryan, Lober, Matthews, Woods, Richardson, and maybe Festa, right?
Bradley. You got to throw Bradley in there. Bradley's going to be
Bradley's
maybe Raj Bradley, part of that, or maybe they consider him a reliever. I mean, right? And then, like you said, that we don't really have any idea of what the bench looks like, and we don't really have any idea what the bullpen looks like. The bullpen is Sands, Topa, and TBD, right? And they've got. I see them going in if that's sort of what they have, and you just put in minimum salaries for everybody else, they've got to pay somebody something for those spots. They're at about $94 million worth of payroll. Before the trade deadline, had they not made all these trades, had they kept the guys they had under contract and paid what they thought it was going to be about $126 million worth of payroll. So they've saved themselves $30-some million in payroll for the next couple of years. This is very back of the napkin figures. I'm guessing on all the arbitration awards. They're reasonable guesses. We're probably within $1 million or so each way. And I'm guessing on how much how that Correa money gets blown. Right now I have them contributing $10 million to Correa for next year. So, they could have as much as $40 million to spend. They've got to get a bullpen. They've got to figure out if they're comfortable with that lineup. I'm guessing they're not. They've got to try and find some hitting out there. And they've got to fill in the bench spots, which, I'm guessing a lot of those bench spots are coming from guys from St. Paul. Yeah, maybe at this point. Save themselves some money. That's not a complete blow up because you've still got a really strong rotation. And frankly, you've got not a terrible lineup. Like that lineup is the only difference between that lineup and sort of the lineup we thought we had going into the season is Correa. And Correa has been terrible. Or not terrible, but bad. Nowhere near projections.
Yeah, no extra base pop whatsoever.
Right. So, I think they're a worse team right now than they were going into the season. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, for sure.
But I don't think that the 2026 season is necessary, and I don't think they're division contenders, especially given what we've seen from the Tigers this year. But I also don't know that they're. I don't know. Is that a 75-win team as opposed to what we thought was an 83.5 win team?
I think they take some of that money and do a bunch of one-year deals, hoping to flip them at the deadline for prospects. I think you're going to see like what the Pirates usually do, or whoever in that like low contention, right? We'll see like Aroldis Chapman on an $8 million deal, even though I do not want to watch him pitch at all.
No.
But you're going to see a bunch of acquisitions like that, of just like hope that this guy, is very, very valuable at the deadline and flip them. I feel like that's probably the plan.
Honestly, I think the fan base, the only thing they can really hope for between now and the end of the calendar year is there is some announcement of a new ownership group coming in with intentions to fix what we have just seen here today and try to, if not even, just do a little bit more than the money that the poll ads gave this current front office to work with this next upcoming offseason. It's not like they're going to go out and get Kyle Tucker, but at least patch in those holes better than you did with, Ty France, Harrison Bader, and Danny Coulomb. And, 2 of the 3 guys definitely worked out decently, but you got to have hope that whatever regime comes in next, they can at least finance this better, that there can be some hope for rebound next year.
Yeah. And in addition to, I guess, the roster that you just laid out, John, there's always Emmanuel Rodriguez,
Walker Jenkins, Kalen Culpepper.
All 3 of those guys could be up like by mid-season next year. Which,
if Rodriguez is healthy.
Yeah, potentially Erod, because the guy's always hurt. You say there's always Erod. That's actually very far from the truth. There's barely ever Erod because
he can't even play 100 games in the minors, man. It's pretty bad for him.
But if we're talking about, I don't know, something to be excited about as a fan, they do have some potentially interesting prospects who are in the high minors, have ETAs this year or next year. I don't know. They will have room to spend. They will.
What's going to be sad in the interim is that Ty France, Willie Castro, Correa, Bader, the 4 hitters that got traded, are going to be replaced by whatever the Fitzgerald guy is that's on the 40-man that can play shortstop.
Ryan Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald. Outman, who no Twins fan wanted in return. And then probably Julian. And then who knows?
Austin Martin. Yeah.
Aaron Sabato. Don't forget about Aaron Sabato.
Yeah, right. And then the pitchers, the 5 of those guys are going to replace by, Bradley's going to be on the active roster. I'd assume McAbe will be on the active roster. We're going to see Travis Adams back. You're talking about a journeyman relief pitcher, and who knows, Pearson Ole maybe. That's going to be the most disheartening thing, is when you look at the 10 guys that are replacing the 10 guys that were gone, and it's like, Yikes! And Ober's going to be healthy. Keishel's going to be healthy. Like that'll help, but man, is it going to be hard?
Yeah,
Wait,
August and September are going to suck. Yeah, and then they're really going to suck for is Mr. Baldelli.
Oh god.
Yeah,
We're going to be
I
watching a
can't
death march
imagine.
there for the next.
And he signed an extent. I mean, I guess he could be like, "Fuck it, I quit." But
Yeah. So I didn't even realize now that we got the press release that the Correa deal is official. This pitcher they got back is in high and 26 years old.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
I mentioned this in the Slack earlier. There's no way that they start next year with Outman and Wallner and Larnick all on the same roster, right? Like, it harkens back to like Jake Cave days, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
I should log off, but I'll just say one last thing. Someone reposted the ad that the poll ads took out after the playoff run lesson, and I just want to read the last part. Imagine what next season could be. Imagine spring training has already started. Actually, don't imagine, believe.
Jeez.
That was 20 months ago.
Yeah.
All right. I can't say it's been fun, guys, but actually, I appreciate you all as we always do.
There's something said with commiserating.
But I'll catch you guys in the Slack soon, and please keep reading Twins Daily. I'm sure we'll have lots of good content to read that will be more fun than watching the games.
Mhm.
Yeah, we should probably get out there and start helping Matthew create some content, guys.
You have probably one of the most depressing Gleeman in the Geek episodes to record too. So hopefully
Yes,
we
we
give
do.
you
How
a
long
good
is
one
that
for
thing
that.
I have to see how soon Aaron can extract himself from his requirements for the athletic right now. But yeah, I've got some notes to take on some guys. So
Yeah. Well, this was a time. I'll say that. It was
Thank
real.
you, everyone who logged in to watch.
Yeah, seriously, thank you, people. Hopefully, we made your suffering a little easier to pass on.
Are we supposed to sign off or something?
We all do
You
that.
know, I'm gonna sign off.
Yep.
Okay.
How
Well,
about it, producers?
thanks for
do that?
watching.
I'll see you guys.
We appreciate the time, and we will see you next time with hopefully some better news to talk about.
Goodbye.
Bye.